Hey Bookends! Welcome to a 10-minute book review. I'm 10. Today's book review is going to be on The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. So we like to start off every book review with a star point, as in out of 10 stars, how many stars this particular book garner, and a rating, as in if this was a movie or a TV show, what would we rate it? Star point, this is an 8 out of 10 stars, even though I didn't like it. It was 8 out of 10. It was well written. Rating wise, we don't really have to work that hard on, since it's going to be a movie coming out pretty soon, or maybe later on this year, and it's PG13, which is about what the book is as well. I don't think they'd have to cut too much from the book to make it into a PG13 as well, since it does star a 12-year-old and a possible 13-year-old. I'm not sure how old the girl in it is. But yeah, jumping right on in. This book stars Todd. Todd lives on Newark, that's the name of the planet, and he lives in Prentisstown. It's the town of all men. Now, he's told from a young age that all the women who live there died from whatever chemical germ that was used to cause the men to all hear everyone else's thoughts. And Todd is like, okay, well, that's sad, but I'm living. And Todd was raised by his mother and father's best friends, who I believe them to be a couple. It's Cillian and Ben. The book doesn't confirm them to be a couple, and the other two books don't confirm them to be a couple, but I believe the author confirmed them to be a couple. Which it kind of makes sense, because from a child's point of view, parents aren't really doing a bunch of coupley things in front of their kids. You know, aside from maybe a hug here, a kiss there, but they're not really doing like intimate stuff in front of their kids. And if this is written from the perspective of a 12-year-old, then of course the 12-year-old wouldn't see his adoptive fathers doing intimate things in front of him. So I'm sure that Todd was, knew what the relationship was. But as a reader going through Todd's mind at the time, he's not dwelling on it because it's just a normal for him. And so for the reader, you kind of have to suss out what's going on. So Todd is about to be 13, so he's about to be a man, and he's very happy about the birthday, because I guess they celebrate birthdays in Prentisstown, so he's very happy about it. But like when he thinks about his birthday, all like he gets from people around him are like bleakness. So the men here can all hear each other's thoughts. Like the men in Prentisstown can all hear each other's thoughts. So, and the thoughts of the animals around them and things like that. The only thing that they couldn't hear was the women, but the women are all dead. So, Todd ends up going into the swamp to get some apples for his father, Ben. So we're just gonna say Dad Ben and Father Cillian. Let's do it like that. So yeah. So he goes into the swamp to get some apples for his dad Ben, and first of all he gets accosted by some dude named Aaron, who's just like a jerk and punches him. He's like the town preacher. Town preachers are always jerks. I've never seen. Anyway, moving right along. So he and his dog, who's very annoying, Manshi, they're in the swamp. Todd and Manshi, and they're looking for apples, and all of a sudden they hear something that's weird, which is silence. Now, if you grew up in a world where there was constant noise, in fact, perfect example, if you grew up in a hood or in a city or anything like that, where at night, like, you're always hearing sirens, ambulances, people talking, people yelling, music from cars, things like that, like, it's always a sound, it's always loud. Going from that to immediately to the country, where like there's nothing but crickets and your blood vessels. That's all you're hearing, crickets and blood flow. So that's what happened with him. Like, he was hearing everything around, then he heard silence. Like, what is this silence? His dog heard it too, and they tried to find the silence, but I guess the silence outruns him. Now he's telling his dog, like, shut up, don't tell anybody about the silence, don't tell anybody about the silence. And he's trying to keep it to himself too, because apparently people don't just hear thoughts, people project thoughts. and he's trying not to project what it is he saw, or not really saw, but heard, the nothingness that he heard. So when he gets home, his father Cillian is like, where you been all day? And he's like, you know, out getting apples. He's like, I don't see no apples. So apparently he dropped the bag with the apples and he was trying to find out what the silence was. And Killian is a bit rough. He's a bit rough around the edges when it comes to Todd. He loves Todd dearly, but he's rough. He's like, I guess a lot of dads are kind of that way when it comes to their sons. Like, not mean or unloving, but kind of like rougher. Todd prefers his dad, Ben, who is gentler when it comes to him. So he's like, okay, screw this. Yeah, you want me to fix the lamps and stuff like that? Don't even care that I have a busted lip because that weirdo Aaron punched me in it. Whatever, fine. So he goes to Ben, and Ben is like, you know, he's upset that he was punched. He's like, I need to talk to Aaron. And Todd is like, no, I don't want no drama. We don't want any fights. Because apparently Aaron's like super crazy, and he also has a following of other super crazies. And the mayor is like super crazy too. It's like, this place is weird. Like, it's filled with all men, and all the men aren't gay. So it's not like it's a community of gay men. Like, there's heterosexual men up in here, and it's just a bunch of them. It's like, for the life of me, I didn't understand why they didn't try to look for other women. Like, why they didn't try to look to see if there's anywhere else that women could be. Because it just seems like you're all gonna die, essentially. Like, it isn't sustainable, you know, to have a place of either all men or all women. It's not sustainable unless there's some way to procreate. And apparently, since these people were from a religious colony, they started as a religious colony, they didn't bring a lot of technology with them, so there's nothing to artificially inseminate. You know, there's no body to artificially inseminate. So essentially everyone's going to die. Like, this whole colony is going to die off eventually. But I guess no one has thought that through. I don't know. So some stuff happens, and Ben is like, so Cillian is protecting Todd, right? Because some stuff happens, and the mayor sends his kid over there to come get Todd. And while Cillian is holding them off, like, he's doing like the father thing, he's protecting his family, he's doing the man thing, like, he's protecting his family, he's keeping these people away from his family, and he's like actually like fist fighting people, while Ben is trying to get Todd out the house and away, and he's trying to tell him like, listen, I love you, you gotta go, bye. Todd was annoying me because I'm not going to go, and what's going on? It's like, bruh, you legit hear like a mob outside. Your father is getting beat up and beating people up to protect you, and your dad is trying to get you out so you're safe. Why are we having this conversation? Just go. Just go. He does end up eventually leaving, and he's given a journal, but the problem is he doesn't know how to read. Yes. After the women died, some of the men tried to start a school, but the mayor got upset about a school. He's like, no, you don't need to know how to read no books. And you don't need to watch no videos. You only need to know what it is I tell you need to know. So the children were forbidden from learning how to read. And when Ben did try to teach Todd how to read, apparently somehow some of Todd's noise, as they call it, like thinking, got out. And the mayor arrested Ben and had him in jail. I forget it was 2 weeks or 2 days. But yeah, that's when the lesson stopped. So he has this journal that he can't read, this dog he don't like, and no parents. Now, mind you, I didn't like Manshi either. That really turned me off about the book, because, let me say, the author wrote the dog very well. The dog is very mindless. If you've ever seen the movie Up, if you've seen Doug the dog, the talking dog, they are basically identical to each other in action. And it's annoying. It's annoying because I'm trying to follow a story, and all of a sudden, it's like, ugh, stop it. Thankfully, we hear less from the dog the more we go on, and because I hear less from him, the more I like him. If that makes any sense. Absence made my heart grow fonder for Manshi, because, yeah, too much of him was just too much. It's no spoiler to say that on his travels, he immediately finds a girl. The girl is from another colony, but a colony that has yet to arrive. Her and her parents came to New Planet, New Planet, in order to set up a colony, like the religious colony did, except they're not a religious colony. And her parents' ship crash landed, so her parents like had like an away ship, and there was like a main ship, and so the main ship is like 7 months away, but her and her parents came down to kind of set stuff up for everybody, which doesn't make any sense in my personal opinion. Why would you send 2 adults and 1 child to set up a communication array, a hospital, a this and a that? Like, why would only 2 adults and a kid be sent to do that? It doesn't make any sense that just 2 adults and 1 child would be given such a heavy, weighty responsibility. How would they, anyway? I don't know. But yeah, so stuff happens. You know, it's always, I was thinking about this, and I didn't particularly, so the men of Prentisstown, they're just like wicked people. I don't want to say that they're intrinsically wicked, but they're essentially wicked people. And they basically want to take over the entire planet, because there's other colonies and other places. They want to take over the entire planet. And I find that when it comes to like religious colonies, they're never good. They always want to kill off the natives. They always want to subject the women. They always want to, like I said, it's never a good look. It's never a good look. I don't know why that is. It just never is. And yeah, I don't know. But this book is basically filled with people, with adults not listening. Like, Todd and Viola, the girl, are basically trying to tell everybody, listen, bruh, Prentisstown, killing people, kill. They're trying to kill people, kill. And people are like, oh, you poor boy pup. Oh, you poor girl pup. Which I got so tired of hearing. Like, why do you keep saying boy pup, girl pup? That's such a freaking annoying thing. But it's like, why? Nobody's listening. No matter what time they got to, nobody listened. What I found the most annoying about this book, about this series really, because I ended up marathoning the entire series, it's depressing. It's hyper depressing. Like, it's supposed to be that hope is always there, but hope is always getting drained. It's like if a cup was filled with hope, it's always leaking out. It never fills up. It's always leaking out. There's no happy ending to this. And to think that it's with a 12-year-old, there's no happy ending to it. It's realistic in that regard. But I found it interesting how the author showed how quickly people can turn against each other. So in the beginning, when people were having this sickness where they were able to hear each other's thoughts, they blamed it on the natives of the planet who were just minding their own flip-dipping business. And they decided to start a war with these creatures who were minding their own business. And so they annihilated most of them in the surrounding area of Prentisstown. There are still some left, but they annihilated the ones around Prentisstown. Then they were upset that the women could hear. You know, I'm not going to give too much away because the movie is coming out soon, and I know some people are waiting for the movie to come out. I will say that the end of the first book is a cliffhanger, and it is not a happy cliffhanger. The end of the second book is not a cliffhanger. It's definitive. It's also not happy, though. And the end of the third book is another cliffhanger, but it's... So do you remember the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio and Elliot Page? So... do you remember the end of it where Leonardo DiCaprio spins his little top, and the whole thing is if the top stops moving, then, like, if the top falls over, he knows he's in real life. If the top stays standing, he knows that he's still in, like, this dreamlike mental state. and at the end of the movie it pans in to the spinning top, but before you can see whether it's about to fall over or keep spinning, the movie ends. Without giving away too much detail, that's how this series ends. That's exactly how this series ends. It ends like the spinning top, and you never quite find out what the actual end result is for the protagonist. And it's just one depressing ride after another depressing ride. It's almost like the Gone series by Michael Grant. The only difference is with Gone, there is a definitive and happy ending. Well, happy is relative, but it's definitive. There was a definitive ending. And even with the new series that he started, what, Monsters and Heroes, which is based on that same Gone world, even with that, there's definitiveness to it. With this, there is no definitive ending. Like, you literally don't know what happened to the protagonist. I'm not going to give too much away. I will say that you can get the 3-box set on Audible to listen to. First, so if you have an Audible subscription, if you use 1 credit, you can get all three books together. That's kind of how I did it. Would I go see this in the movies? Because I know how the first one ends, because I know how the series ends, I will probably miss the movie. And it's funny because I got the book originally because it was another booktuber who I consider a friend, Olivia's Catastrophe. It was one of her favorite series, the Knife of Never Ending, the Walking Chaos or Chaos Walking series, one of her favorite series. So I bought the book originally, like way back when, never finished it because the dog just got on my flip-dipping nerves. But then I decided to listen to the book, and the dog is even more annoying when someone has given it a voice. But I powered through, and it was worth powering through. It was worth it. My heart went out to Ben and Killian, with a C, but it's pronounced like a K, and my heart went out to them. Like, I didn't want... There is a shining part in regards to them, but I got so emotional when it came to them. It's just, I did not want what happened to them to happen. I wish that the author had given, I mean, if the author doesn't owe anyone anything, especially little old me, but I wish the author had given some sort of closure, even if it was a novella, because he has a novella out for, it's in between The Answer and Monsters of Men, so it's set in between that. So he has a novella out for that, but I just wish he had created a novella after the series had ended to let us know what happened. The characters are well developed, and you fall in love with them. Because I even started to like, Manshi, but the characters are well liked. You do start to fall in love with them. The ones that you're meant to hate, you do hate. There's one character in the second book that's supposed to create a gray area from the first one, but in all honesty, I don't see it as a gray area. Even when Todd is forced to do things that are morally unethical in the second book, he's still a likable person because you know the reason why he's doing the things isn't for his own safety but for someone else's. I just feel like this book is filled with wicked men who did not think things all the way through. They only thought through to the point of power. And I think that was the purpose of the book, to show what happens when people place power over people. Like, power over people. Like, they want power more than they want to help people. And the most interesting thing about this is that was supposed to be a religious colony. So these people are religious. Yeah. Well, this has been a 10-minute book review. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Bye, Bookends.